Hello, hello, everyone. This is Josh with the Synchronized Universe podcast, coming at you on this fine Tuesday morning on my way to work. Glorious, be it going to work at 4:30 in the morning. I guess it's better than when I was going to work at 3:45 in the morning, but it's all good. In any case, it's been a little bit since I did one. Started a new job or a new position at my work, and it's trying to learn the ropes and all that can be stressful at first, but in all honesty, the job is ultimately, it's much, much less stress on me. I definitely miss a lot of the people that I work with every day, but the fact is, I realized that I was under a tremendous amount of stress at my other position. I mean, it is what it is. Sometimes you gotta admit things like that to yourself and just try to accept it. Like, your work can be a good source or a bad source of stress in your life. And I mean, there is no good source of stress, I guess. But, I'm saying? Sometimes you gotta look at that and be like, oh, yeah, this is definitely causing most of these things, because it's important to realize that, because stress is, scientifically proven to actually damage your body. Like, being in stress or under stress for a long period of time literally destroys your body. And I think it's interesting that they talk about that, because there's a guy called Dr. Joe Dispenza. If you look at, I'm not sure if that's actually how you say his name, but that's how I'm saying it, okay? Anyway, if you look into the new science coming out about, neuroscience and stuff like that, he postulates a whole theory on it. He's like, if we believe that stress, you can actually turn on the stress hormone in your body by thought alone. So it's proven. You can, scientifically proven by mainstream sources that our thoughts can create stress. And he says that the opposite then must be true, that our thoughts can also create health. And a lot of people laugh that off and, like, oh yeah, that's BS, pseudoscience crap. But it's crazy, you can sit here and firmly believe that, because these mainstream science people will tell you that your thoughts can create stress. But the opposite can't possibly be true, right? And that's the realm that we get into. It's like, unless these mainstream sources tell people, that these things are true, that's, oh yeah, it can't possibly be the case. But I'm telling you, this guy is a very well respected guy, very well respected scientist. And again, he's saying that, we've confirmed that science, that our thoughts can create stress. And he's also saying that it's definitely, they're working on the studies again to prove it, but it's finding the funding to do it is the problem. And they don't want to fund stuff like that because they don't want you to know that, generally speaking, we can be the cause and effect on almost all our ailments. And the fact of the matter is, on all that, the industries controlling medical science and all that stuff don't want us to know, how much power, how much sway we have over our own body. They want us to come to them for all the medical stuff, and us to come to them to treat all these random symptoms that they're never curing anything. Like, our medical system does not create cures. Like, that's where people, you got this, they're blind because they just believe that these people are out, trying to help them. But they're literally profiting off sickness. Like the cancer industry. I call it industry because if you don't think it is, you have not done enough research, you have not opened your eyes enough. It is a multi-billion-dollar industry, cancer treatment is. Do you think that they have any interest in actually curing it? Or do you think that, the cure just hasn't been found yet? So, like, not only is the search for the cure in industry, the Treatment is an industry. So like to me, this is like a front, like the race for the cure stuff. That's a front. It's a funnel for money, probably for shady, ultimately shady sources. A small percentage goes here, small percentage goes here. Essentially giant money laundering operations, right? There's a lot of people who've looked into all that, and there's a lot of truth in that. But that's outside the scope of what I'm talking about here. Um, And the reason why all this is important is because like one of the first books I ever got into, like when I started really, really opening my mind and getting into reading, was a book called The Power of Your Subconscious Mind by Joseph Murphy, Dr. Joseph Murphy. And he's one of those, I think he's like, they call him new thought church people. I don't, for lack of a better term to describe. Okay. Don't be upset by that. But it's the idea, like when you read, for example, like the Bible, there's a lot of passages, if you read them right and you really understand what the psychology of what they're saying, like, for example, trying to teach you how to pray properly, there's a reason why, they say, when you ask for something in prayer, you need to believe that you already have it. I don't know the exact Bible verse, so I don't want to quote it. But it's like, believeth that you are, it's essentially when you're praying for something, you should already accept that you have this item, right? Because asking for something is, you're creating the fact that, yes, I don't have it. Like you need to, I accept, I accept my new car as mine, for example, and visualize in your mind, what this car is, or somebody, you, purchasing this car in your mind, etc. Or even somebody giving it to you. Like this stuff sounds crazy, but for me, like I've proven this ability over and over again to myself. It takes repetition every single day doing the like the power of positivity thing. That's why they say you do it for 30 days. Wake up, write 5 positive lines about yourself. I am healthy. I am great. That kind of stuff. Because it quite literally will change your perception of you. And, once you change your inner world, your outer world starts to change as well. And that's another deep psychology subject, is like your inner worldview. Like, that's why when you're, in relationships and whatnot, you need to see how your partner and how the people around you perceive the world, because they look at the world differently than you do. So in order to truly understand somebody, you have to understand how they perceive the world. That's what true communication is. You can't communicate with somebody on these surface levels without knowing how they view it. You know what I mean? Because anybody can take a statement. You can take a statement infinite ways. Like there's plenty of examples of that too. But I'm slowly starting to see, because I looked at this back in 2017, 16, I think it was, when I really started getting into the idea of the subconscious mind, and I became obsessed. I bought every single one of Joseph Murphy's books, read every single one of these, and I've proven it to myself, on many occasions, that we can influence our reality. We can influence, people will see every day at work, people like you really, really can. And it's something, again, it's hard to accept, but I promise you, the people that are running the world truly understand these concepts. And, it's like one of the episodes I did of this podcast called the placebo effect. And the subconscious mind is the exact thing behind the placebo effect, which I said in that episode too. And again, people just accept the placebo effect as some kind of a random miraculous thing. It doesn't make any sense, like, so you can be given a fake medicine and literally have your body, if you've taken this medicine before or whatever, can have the reaction that you took medicine. And, it's crazy to me that people don't really look at that and like, wow, that's miraculous. Like, how is that possible? They don't really tell us. They just tell us that, hey, we use these things in studies. And it's insane. And there's you look into the stuff that's been done for under hypnosis. Back to like Sigmund Freud and stuff like that. Like it's insane. You can hypnotize somebody, give them a cup of water, tell them it's alcohol, and tell them that they're going to get inebriated by it, and they will do exactly that. They will act out. They will literally be drunk, and this is people under hypnosis. So like you're essentially giving a command to their subconscious mind directly. And again, people believe that hypnosis is possible. They believe, the placebo effect exists, but they don't ever ask the question why. And I don't know, man. I think it's because, like, as a whole, we've been conditioned to think that kind of stuff is not possible. Magic, that kind of, it just doesn't exist. There's nothing more than what's in front of our face. And, this is not just from, people who only accept the mainstream views. It's also from people who, are serious followers of the Bible and stuff like that. But the Bible is quite literally full of examples on, proper ways to pray, and that it literally would tell you exactly how to do this. You just got to know where to look. And if you take it with these advanced spiritual perspectives in mind, like you can get actually a lot of stuff from the Bible, a lot of history that they're confirming is true from the Bible. I'm not talking about the beginning of Genesis, where God created the universe, blah, blah, 7 days. Ignore that part, because that is a shortened piece from the Sumerian tales. And, I've had people message me on that and be like, oh, how do you know that that's the case? Well, if you've read the Sumerian versions of these stories, you would know that the Bible is a shortened part of a lot of these. The beginning part is actually a lot of the stories in the Bible are, but like Genesis, as an example, is a shortened version of a lot of the Sumerian stories. And I don't know. To me, it's fascinating, but I really wanted to get on and talk about the mind and stuff like that, because I've been under a tremendous amount of stress, and especially during the holiday season, getting all these gifts for the kids. I guess I don't have to do that, so I put it under myself, but I don't know. I want the kids to have a good Christmas. I want, and I guess it just I put a lot of unnecessary pressure under myself, or on myself, I mean. I don't know. But in any case, I would say, if you're looking for a way to start, looking for a path to start looking into, like looking into the, the works of Sigmund Freud and Carl Jung, that kind of psychology is really, really important to look into, because it gives you a clear understanding that there is a lot more capabilities we have in our minds than anybody believes in this day and age. And, that's why I take psychology and stuff like that with a grain of salt, because like when I was taking psychology courses, when I was pursuing my bachelor's degree, there's, they teach you part of psychology, but they don't teach you anything about, you learn about Sigmund Freud, you learn about Carl Jung, but they really don't go heavily into that, because, that they were considered fringe science, right? I don't know. There's a lot of science that I don't accept, because they're like, oh no, they throw around the impossibility stuff. They throw around pseudoscience, because they're not university backed or whatever. And that was an argument that I had with my son the other day. I was talking about, the difference between pseudoscience and science. And really, there's no such thing as pseudoscience. You not have fake science, okay? That's not a thing. So this idea comes from the fact that people, if it's not a university-backed thing, for example, a university-backed research study, that it can't possibly be correct. And what does that actually mean? So most of the stuff that we accept in society most of these scientists putting out these mainstream articles are backed by a university or some kind of a government organization, because these people are funding the projects. They're funding the exploration of these, or the archaeological digs and whatnot. So when that happens, there's plenty and plenty of cases of these. The people researching the stuff, they have to give their information to the university before they publish it. And they allow or disallow what they can publish in their stuff. And, that's red flag number one. So there's been plenty of cases where people are like, they don't tell the truth because they can't. They will lose their, essentially lose their funding. They will be subject to ridicule. This is a big thing in the UFO subject. There's been people that have refused to come out for decades because it would destroy their reputation. And that's the thing about it, is most of these people are not gaining anything monetarily by coming out with that kind of stuff. So the idea that, just because somebody is not backed by a university, it automatically makes it pseudoscience is silly. And that's, become a weaponized term to describe anybody who thinks outside of the box, anybody who thinks outside the mainstream paradigms. Like, again, it's important to really, really look at alternative studies, because you have no idea the work that's been done in the world, because we only accept what we're told in National Geographic, or what we're told by NASA, or what we're told by, any other government organization. It's wild once you really start to look into it, because it opens your mind to a world that shouldn't exist according to what they're telling us. According to science, when we die and rot in the ground, nothing happens. We become energy as, yes, I do believe we do come to become energy. However, a lot of people believe that nothing happens at all. This is it. This is all there is, and there's nothing else out in the universe. There's people that believe the earth is flat. There's people that believe, God or Jesus is coming back to get us all. It doesn't really matter what you believe. The idea is to keep your mind open and don't close it. If you believe in religion, ultimately believe in religion, believe in God, accept what you need to do to give yourself energy to get through the day. But the idea is you need to open your mind to any possibility going on in the world. Otherwise, you'll never learn anything new. If you close your mind to any new information, any new books, you'll never be more than what you are. And that's, again, one of the main drivers behind me doing this podcast, is because I want people to question the world around them just like I have. I don't have all the answers, not even close. I'm just the person trying to get through the day and, dealing with the stresses of the world. But if I can reach out and try to help somebody, or get somebody to question the world around them, or, anything, then to me, I've succeeded. If I can even reach one person. And that's what's important to me. So again, that's why I'm here. I was trying to give people the idea, that the world is more than what we see, on the physical. It's very important, look into the powers of your subconscious mind, and I can give you brief ideas on how to properly pray. That's a good one. So I'm going to touch on that subject really quick before I get off and go to work here. But so in the Power of Your Subconscious Mind book, this is of vital importance. So it teaches you the power of self-hypnosis. So he talks about all the work that was done by Carl Jung, and that he was doing with patients under hypnosis. And he teaches you essentially what it is ultimately, and what prayer really is self-hypnosis. You're not asking a deity in space or in the universe for something. That's not what you're supposed to do. The God, the spirit, or whatever it is, whatever you want to call it, is inside of you already. And your subconscious mind, the part, the thing that controls your involuntary movements, your breathing, how it keeps you alive. You don't control your breathing unless you want to. You can consciously control it. However, things like the beating of your heart, stuff like that. Like, your subconscious mind is way more than you believe it is. So the idea of self hypnosis is you get yourself, sit down in a chair, get comfortable, even lay down. I do it when I'm laying down, is to get yourself into a sleepy, drowsy state. Like, just about to fall asleep. And, a lot of the things they say to use is like, make what you want, your prayer, make it a lullaby that you can repeat to yourself, make a rhyme, a little jingle, if you will, repeat it to yourself in this sleepy, drowsy state. Repeat it, just keep doing it. Keep doing it until you fall asleep. And then you continue doing this every single day. This is the part that always breaks me, because like, it's been hard for me to do it habitually, because I got so many different things going on at home at night. Sometimes it's hard for me to get the kids. A lot of times, when I get these kids to bed, I end up falling asleep because I'm already exhausted. But anyway, so you get yourself into these sleepy, drowsy states, and you do this every single night, repeatedly. You try to do one thing at first. Try to say, like, I don't know, just something simple that you want out of life. Something that you want to change in your life. Maybe you want some money. Like, there's plenty and plenty of documented examples where people like have written into this guy, have told him, that stuff actually works. And whether you want to believe it or not, he lists so many different people that have tried it and it works. Like, you literally have nothing to lose. Like, nobody's selling you anything right now at all. Like, I'm telling you the exact method of doing this. Again, get yourself into a sleepy, drowsy state, make a mantra, make a song. There's anything that you can do, any number of ways that you can do this. Something that's going to stick into your mind, get stuck into your head like a song. And, say you want to change the outcome of something, like you're really stressed about something that's going to happen, like you're waiting on news. So anytime you think of this news, a lot of people like me with anxiety and stuff like that, they stress out and overthink and like, oh my God, they see doom and gloom. So now what I do when I have a stressful thought or a stressful situation that I'm waiting to hear news for is like, anytime I think about it, I change my thoughts. Like, it's being worked out in divine order is usually something I use. Being worked out in divine order. Anytime that thought comes up. Or you can even use this when you're dealing with stress in your relationship. Like, anytime, negative thoughts come up about your partner, for example, like, instead of thinking these bad thoughts, you change it. You redirect the thoughts. That's the idea behind the power of positivity too. Like, redirect it, like, start thinking loving thoughts toward that person. And dude, it'll change everything, because that doesn't just stay inside your mind. Like, the idea that thoughts are just, floating around in there and don't go anywhere is incorrect. Like, we are all connected in mind. And that's one of the other things that Sigmund Freud and, Freud and Carl Jung were talking about, is there is one mind common to all men. And what that means is that all of us are ultimately connected in mind. And that's through the subconscious. Like, that's how psychic stuff works. That's how, whether or not you want to believe it, there's plenty of documented cases where that, there is such thing. I'm not talking about the people you call in Miss Cleo and stuff like that. I'm talking about real psychic abilities, and anybody has the abilities. They're latent inside of us. All of us do. And, you can look into that too. Like, we're just taught from a young age that kind of stuff is impossible. And when you believe that something is impossible, your mind accepts that dominant thought, and then you don't believe it. And that possibility becomes cut off from you. Like, you are what you believe. You tell yourself that you're a piece of crap all day long, that's what you're going to believe. You start spending 30 days telling yourself that you're great, I am healthy, I am, positive, I'm perfect. I'm no. There's any things you could say. Okay, the I am statements. I'm going to cover that under a different one because I'm about out of time. But ultimately, that's the idea behind the I am statements. Because what you say after that, you become. And I promise you, do this for a little bit. You start to notice changes in your body, but you have to commit. This is something you got to commit to, just like with prayer. You're supposed to commit, do it every day, believe it. And then you got to match that vibration. Like if you want change, you want, better health in your life and stuff like that, you got to actually make changes as well. Your mind can only do so much. You also have to step up and start making the changes too. Like many people want somebody else to fix all their problems. They want God to fix all their problems. They want, you know, somebody else to come save them. And the fact is, you have to save yourself. Like you got to be the hero of your own story. And it's like the book A Hero with a Thousand Faces. You got to go on a hero's journey and you have to be the hero of your life. And the ways you do this is, stop accepting the things around you as they are. Like, stop doing the same things expecting different results because that's insanity. Literally, it's the definition of insanity. And like you can do these things, man, just like I can. I forget a lot of the times and I get depressed. I get caught up in the world around me. And sometimes I got to stop and, for example, doing stuff like this, you know, this is important. It's an outlet. It's a place for me to talk about all these things that I've learned over the past several years. Like, I honestly I forget how much I've learned, how much I know about these, these subjects until I really start talking to random people about it. Like, I've watched, tons and tons and tons of videos, tons of documentaries, read tons of books on this subject, and it blows my mind. It's an area that people really don't talk about, man. Like, you don't. You talk about the regular people about it, they're like, oh my God, man, what is this guy? And, that's because people are stuck in their ways. And you can be stuck in your ways in many different ways. You can be stuck in your ways as, a religious fanatic. You can be stuck in your ways as a flat earth fanatic, any kind of fanatic, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can believe, as an atheist, you can be stuck in your ways on that, but like I was telling my mom the other day, like I have friends that are atheists. I have friends that that are pagan, that are people that, believe Satan or Satanists or whatever you want to call them. Like, I have friends from all walks of life. And none of that matters to me. I don't care what somebody's spiritual beliefs are. I really don't. That's not my concern. Other people's paths, what they ultimately choose is not something you can control. And somebody tells you that, hey, this is what I believe. That's awesome, man. You know, I hope that helps you. That's really all you should say. Send loving thoughts. Don't ultimately look at them negatively in your mind because you shouldn't do that. Because as the law of one states, and as I've stated many times, that person ultimately is you. All of us are the same person. And that's the ultimate truth of this universe. That's what it means when you should treat others the way you want to be treated. The reason is because that person is you and you are them. We are all the creator acting out, different ways, acting out these scenarios in different ways in different places. Like, the universe is all stems from one living being. And that ultimately, whatever you want to call it, God, the universe, etc., like that is the truth. And that's hard for people to accept because they want to believe in the sky daddy who's, going to come and save them and stuff like that. And ultimately, you can believe, again, whatever it is that you want to believe, but you shouldn't wait for somebody to come save you. You need to save yourself. Like, you can get up. There's lots of things you can do every day to make a change in your life. Just like, I need to take my own advice and, make more changes. I made a change, went to a different place and work. It worked out for me pretty well. You know, There's other changes I need to step forward. It's scary, 100% scary. It's so much easier to stay where you're at. But the truth is, if you're not happy where you're at, why are you doing it? That's the truth. But in any case, I'm out of time. I'm about out of work. This is Josh with the Synchronized Universe podcast. And Alex, sir, if you're listening, I hope you have a wonderful day. Now you can't say I didn't finish one for you. Much love, my friends. Anybody who's listening, I truly appreciate you. Even if there is only 2 or 3 people, who knows? Like, that doesn't matter to me. If I can reach 2 or 3 people, then I have succeeded in my mission with this podcast. Much love, my friends. I hope you all have a wonderful day.